3, 2, 1.
ASEED as an institution has evolved its own identity as an autonomous, non-profit registered body. Capacity Building Division of ASEED-IDMAT, Institute of Development Management Technology, has been functioning with its great interventions in the organizations, both social, corporate, and public enterprises through ODIs. Its new campus in Greater Noida Knowledge Park has come up with its own ambience, with rich documentation and library center, with classroom learning facilities, and with a new ambience of greenery has attracted the learners over the years. We have organized series of programs for the stakeholders, for the grassroots workers, and also the organization policy holders in the areas of governance and institutional development facilitations. The recent workshop, which has been taken up in Silver Jubilee celebration year, is a colloquium that will be presented to all of you. It's a great honor to welcome Professor Munchatreya on behalf of ASEED-IDMAT. I also feel pride in welcoming our delegates and speakers, participants from different walk of the organization. The experience of IDMAT in conducting ODI over the years, largely the 15 to 20 years, has been very challenging and exciting with ups and downs. We began our journey with the help of several key stalwarts in OD field like Uday Parikh, Dharni Sinha, Ishwar Dayal, and many others who supported and blessed the beginning of this program. Today's Munchatreya's presence has not only inspired the team but also the delegates who are here and would love to listen to him.
And the worry of the Siemens board was that the company may be taken over either by GE or by ABB, because Siemens at that time was technically excellent but had no commercial acumen. They were building great products but not the bottom line. That's not a sustainable business model. So today changes have to be lightning, rapid. You can see, for example, the startups, how they are rising in the travel, holiday areas. At the same time, Snapdeal, which came up very well, is having serious problems. Flipkart is having problems. The money that they are raising is high now, but they have lost a great deal of equity control of the company. And even this money will lead to a great deal more of monitoring from the outside. The number of alliances will be required. Again, they will be based on situational rather than long-term plan, reasonable dividends. And the share price appreciates. People have the freedom to withdraw their investment. In the stock market allows the opportunity to sell any share, which is highly attractive, has the potential to go global. And those companies, you can help them to build the structures and systems, not only internally, by persuading to attract the talent from industry.
Processes which are required in order to make sure that everyone is having a uniform experience. What are one of the strategies that you have suggested?
Level talent from people with their experience already in large companies are building structures and systems. Now there will be a second category, which
Deepak Barara, the former Chief People Officer of Lanco and the key anchor of the colloquium, spoke about challenges of managing change, and the scenario of the future, which are so threatening at one hand and also so exciting to deal with.
Measuring the moods of the people, that in what mood you are today. So, the cheapest smartphone which has been sold in Africa is $10. $10, that means 700 rupees. Smartphone. And by 2020, we feel that 75% of the people will own a smartphone, and that means everything has the same.
After Mr. Barara, Mr. Rakesh Seth spoke about the managing change and its challenges while designing an intervention for organization development. A noted consultant from public enterprise and corporate sector with a rich experience gave an interesting insight on the process.
And the ambiguity and the demands are to be met by three. Again, VUCA is that you have to.
Rakesh Seth touched about the VUCA aspects in detail and reinforced what Professor Atraya was saying in the morning hours. Followed with Rakesh Seth, Mr. H.C. Seth, the former director of PSPCL, a public sector, with a rich experience on HR, touched about the challenges of talent management, challenges of reorganization, challenges of initiating competency-driven organization development process.
Divided into three categories: preparation, transmission, and execution. But they are still one entity, and they are continuing with the old system, age-old system of also of administration. They have not changed. Even in 2017, they have not changed.
Talking about his experience, Mr. Seth gave a very gloomy picture and challenges mixed with a sense of strong disappointment with many facilitators and change leaders. And that is the reason he projected that tomorrow public sector needs to undergo a radical change, otherwise organization development would become not only a complex but a forlorn hope for many change facilitators.
Competitions. So how to reduce your cost, how to be very, very professional, how to reduce cycle times, deliver product well in time. These are some of the issues, and we have to be very competitive in the market, otherwise you are not there. So new skills. So the entire ball game is how to do continuously learn, relearn, learn, relearn. The only antidote to change is learning. And recently our company has given new focus and impetus to learning. And earlier the name to our department was HRD. So now it's name has been rechanged, and now it has been renamed as corporate learning. This is now part of strategy. Learning has to be deeply embedded. Our senior artists, we have learning. Learning is very essential. The management literature.
The chair of this session was led by Dr. Babulal, the executive director of BHEL, who emphasized their strategic intervention for realigning the corporate learning network at a pan-India level that made a very interesting experience for the facilitators and internal change agents. The post-lunch session was very interesting mix of argument, controversy, provocations led by the chair, Professor R.A. Yadav, the former chairman of AICT, Government of India. He introduced the rest of the speakers from the panel, Professor Syed Akhtar, ISEP's veteran, and professor from Hong Kong University who is visiting India, Pooja Malik, Vice President HR from automobile sector, and Mr. Chatwal, a veteran consultant and former BHEL executives at a very senior level.
Discussing this morning. Uncertainty and disruption, big challenge.
Pooja Malik talked about her organizational experience where the intrigues of change and HR interventions was seen as a threat to many. At the same time, her initiative and practices gave a new meaning to several stakeholders down the line as well as to the middle management.
The past 26 years between India and Hong Kong, between Hong Kong and other places. And what I find that I did not know before is the awareness of my own cultural values, the Indian cultural values. I'm not talking about organizational values.
Professor Syed Akhtar talked about cultural practices and way to enhance inclusiveness in the organizations and also beyond the organization. The challenges for OD consultant is more on enhancing the inclusiveness and creating a sense of belonging and sense of pride for those who work and those who are associated with the organizational processes.
When the electronic age started, in fact in this period the growth was again 1.5–2%. In a period of 5 years or so. So it started accelerating. So we knew that this was a human potential.
Jeet Chatwal emphasized diagrammatically that if we become the change, it's possible to bring the change around us. He brought out diagrammatically the model based on his experience and insight and the years that he has spent in different organizations, largely the public sector.
And he was the founder of the Intel. Is it finding a very typical phenomenon that every 18 months this product's capability is doubling up, its prices becoming half. So then we extrapolate it and say, to what extent can it really go? Because we don't believe when he said that it will.
Professor Yadav brought his insight based on the experience of institution building and change management. He urged that the panelists of his forum brought out very meaningful insights from cross-cultural perspectives and also brought out from the corporate and public sectors. A change that is inevitable. If we do not change, the change will occur without our readiness. Ms. Mridul Shekhar, the Group Director of HR from Qantas and IMRT, brought out her practical experience of bringing change from the younger and the older generations as employees. And how do we realign? How do we help them build team? And how do you prepare them and enable them for a new future? Was very insightful and very intriguing experience.
Global setup I'm trying to do. So if I say collaboration is definitely one of the main pillars that we need to do once something in terms of change has happened. Communication, I did hear somebody say that how often are you really?
As my friend, with these words, as far as change is concerned, it's absolutely, if we take the life cycle of the product, life cycle of the organization.
Thus the colloquium ended on a note of an interesting mix of development distortions that is likely to be a glaring effect of tomorrow's technological change. Understanding of human sensitivity and organizational consciousness with clarity of human dynamics would assume critical significance tomorrow. More of new problems would arise with advancement of science technology that needs urgent attentions. The mind would find itself very difficult to absorb, yet the power of mind and its inherent ability needs to be used with a greater caution and on a faster pace. Tomorrow's scene is forcing the organizations to tame their team and inspire them to step into the new roles to face the challenges. Evolutions of organizational consciousness is going to be the pace of time for tomorrow's organization and a shift from the unconscious to the conscious evolution, as has been the history of organization development paradigm in the last 3 decades. The same process might be repeated. The technology has worked as an intervening variable, but the nature and people would be encouraged to coexist as a co-founder of harmony. That's what many speakers, right from Professor Atreya and Professor Yadav and many other panelists at different point of time, touched upon these critical issues. The multinational corporate world are expected to play a transparent with a better governance, accountability to the nation that they choose to operate. I profusely thank all the delegates and speakers and chairpersons of the colloquium. Their participation, their active interest and contribution to the objectives of the colloquium has made the entire day very insightful and fruitful and rewarding. Now, before we break for the tea, let me take you to the glimpse of what ASEED-IDMAT has done in the last 15-20 years in different parts of the country and South Asian region. The OD facilitations and certification programs for different target groups.